volunteer for the community service for the scholarship application.
That's why I passed it out. Get people. I'll make a note of that.
At 7 o'clock on Monday, July 20th, and we'll call the Utility Service Board meeting Monday, July 20th, order, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record tonight, Secretary Andrew Day will be Zoom in with us this evening. Andrew, roll call, please.
Present.
Joe Root,
Present.
Mike Rear,
Present.
Ken Brewer,
Present.
Mike Kelly.
Present. You have been provided minutes for the meeting of July 6th, 2020.
I move to accept the minutes of
Motion by Kent to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Second by Mike Rear. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Rick Egan,
Aye.
Joe Root,
Aye.
Mike Rear,
Aye.
Ken Brewer,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. I don't see any public participation. First of all, we're going to recess this meeting and go to the preliminary engineering report public hearing. We have a presentation if anyone needs that presentation in general public. Otherwise, we'll want to just kind of summarize from your standpoint.
So, yeah, I'm Bill Lynn on Westland Engineering, and I prepared a presentation. If it's okay with the board, we don't have public here to see the public hearing and ask questions. I'd like to ask your permission to forego the slide show presentation and just do a brief discussion of preliminary report, if that's acceptable.
As long as you take it off our bill.
It's on the desk.
So, thank you.
Take a page out, I'll go back to. Get my mouse there right now.
There's more copies for anyone else. So the purpose of the public hearing is the planning agency is going to the state quality fund those programs of $58. One of the program requirements is that the public opportunity to comment and review on the preliminary engineering report. So on July 9th, the ad went to the Franklin Times to advertise that this project is available for public comment, that the preliminary engineering report has been at the Armstrong Water Treatment Plant office available for public view up to this point, and so it continue to be available for public view and comment for another 5 days. So we can accept comments, those will be directed to the side, and I usually get some of the comments in these 5 days. So the window, once that window closes, we're going to summarize the information. I'll prepare notes for the next public hearing. An overview of PDR was provided, and what comments there were, and now as part of the overall preliminary report documentation. What I want to do today, though, is I want to do a little bit of clarification before I swear the prior meeting, talk about the report in the context of rate setting. You may or may not have noticed there's a little bit of cost difference between the rate setting and the engineering setting. So I talked about a $13 million engineering report, while the rate setting was $26. So to rectify that, I'd like to just go through what that difference was, and we have coordinated to make those numbers. So you go to page 2. The differences that have been made, or the changes that have been made to make up that difference, are in 2 bottom lines. The contingency prior to today, this document, you see the contingency was about $875,000. so slightly less than 10%. The reason for that was that we already had bids on the Sierra 28 project numbers, and then also on the numbers. But the SRF loan program will require a 10% loan or 10% contingency on the loan, so that's an appropriate adjustment for that program. And then my construction dollars, we actually have the actual engineering costs for the Sierra design project as well. Those two numbers have been updated. All the construction dollars have been the same. They're at the same level. Those dollars give us a total of 13.6. And breaks down. Quick overview of that, but you have any questions?
I have a quick question on your last bullet point that appears on page 2. You mentioned here replacement of various frequency drives. Is that what we're doing? Or are we installing variable frequency drives? We do both. Okay. So some fixed horsepower motors are going to go to variable speed drive for frequency drive.
All of the horsepower motors, the ISO pumps, the well ones, large portion of those will be very frequency drive.
Okay, that's the clarification I'm looking for. Thank you.
I know, Ken, you had some discussion, anything you want to add?
Okay, so any public comments for the public hearings document?
Well, thank you for providing us with the executive summary, and I guess, Ken, did you get one?
Yeah.
Okay. You're as public as we have here, I guess, you and Mark, so.
One more project.
At this point in time, if there are any questions, other further questions from the board members, we'll adjourn the public hearing and we'll return back to the USB regular meeting.
Close.
I'll close. Okay. I'll close the hearing.
Thank you. I don't know if I can do it.
All right. Andrew, you have anything for us from your?
I am working on a first draft of the year financial analysis. I know Kit and I have been working together on doing a quarterly and more recently with the COVID, a more closer look at monthly. So I'm going to do an overall every fund, including the depreciation and construction. First half of the year, look, and then I'll have a budget comparison to that where we're sitting with what we have budgeted. And the tower support tickets, Excel sheet that Rick had given me. I've been working on it, getting it ironed out. Still a few tweaks I need to make for I'd be ready to really present what I'm doing, what I'm looking at, but it's going well so far. I'm planning on it being just me to manage. The building office girls have been emailing me any updates with their support tickets. And that's been working out really well. I've been able to go in and make any adjustments that I did with that. So at this point, I think it's just going to be me managing it and getting into it myself rather than having to buy hands. I can get the next one. Other than that, everything's going well.
Any questions for Andrew?
One question, Andrew. This is Rick. On the comparison year over year, will that be represented in dollars of revenue and in sold volume, let's say, of water or electricity units, or just dollars?
So the report that I would pull, that I was planning on pulling was just in dollars, but if you would like any sort of volume, I could give with, I think it'll be Stacy at this point with the data.
What I don't want to make work, maybe Ken's in a better position to give us some guidance on that. Would dollars be comparable to be able to see what the impact of COVID-19 business reduction is? Do you think that would work for us?
Right, I do.
Okay, let's just go with that.
I mean, because we can go back and,
The rates haven't changed, so
right, we can go back and compare off of what 2019 was.
Okay.
You know,
So we only get in trouble if we look at electricity before the last rate change.
right. But the only other thing that we had.
Oh, and wastewater.
Wastewater. We just
Wastewater.
had 2 rate increases and getting ready for the 3rd one this.
I mean, it might
fall.
be beneficial to pull
Well, that one there, I wonder.
volume,
Right,
and I don't know, I've never pulled back that queue, so I don't know if it's even a queue or if it's something that they can just be able to look at.
I don't want to get to where I have to translate the dollar volume and we don't really know what the impact was, you know, the volume.
Well, I don't know that you would necessarily even have to compare it to the dollar amount, you can just see, hey, we sold X amount last year and we sold X amount this year. Which would be something to look at, compare as to the impact of business closing.
Well, I'd forgotten about the sweet greens, so. There's 2 of them in there. All right, well, you,
But it would be up to you if you would like that included, and that would be something that I could pursue.
what do you think, Nick?
well, I think some of them, I mean, obviously, on the water side, Chris can pull that number pretty quickly. Let's say, for instance, a number of pumped water out of the water treatment plant from first 6 months of 19 versus first 6 months of this year. And then you obviously subtract our water loss in there, which is 15% around in there. So,
Well, maybe Andrew, maybe they can work together with it.
and we can, yeah, by the next meeting, we'll have something. Okay, because, you know, right now, I mean, Andrew and I, we've got some pretty close numbers. You know,
Yeah, I think we got some really, we're not playing out really.
right, where the numbers are. That would just be one more thing that maybe we could add as far.
Okay. Might give us a better picture of it. Right.
Yeah, I think at that point it would just be more of a visual look rather than an impact on the financial statement.
Thank you.
I mean, we have, you know, we could go and have Stacy doing work and everything else, but Westland does yearly, they're required to do the water loss. And so, you know, why add the work or anything else? Because, you know, if Chris gives us a number of gallons pumped and Stacy gives us a number of gallons filled, you know, the difference is going to be our water loss.
Yeah, it's also picking a point in time,
Right.
you know, for 6 months a year.
Right.
Okay.
And so, you know, we know what that number is from Westland's last report was close to 15%.
Tomorrow I have actually a phone call with a guy that's doing this year's campaign.
Okay.
So
I'll send an email out to the department head and ask if they can send me a, user report, I guess.
Okay. Anything else for Randy? All right, moving on, Stacy.
I have 2 things. The first one is that Chris Luschel, our head builder in Philadelphia, has turned in her retirement letter, and her last day will be August 5th. And then the other item I have is we ran a report today, and if we were to disconnect today, we had 347 disconnects with a total of 128,278.59.
That's better. It's got the last couple of weeks. That's got a little bit.
How many just?
347. Give or take a few, because with our credit card issue, I have to go through and manually subtract out some people, but for the most part, that we did.
Last time, lost.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I had some people that had paid their 3 bills, and I was trying to catch all of those names, but some came up.
We was a couple weeks ago, it was close to 160, like 159 or something like that. So so it has not been. And, to jump in on that as well, we had to file with our plan for disconnect with the IURC last week. And Alicia got all the stuff that Alicia had written out for us with our payment plan and everything else. It was all satisfactory. So we are, it's required by the IURC, so they have our letters, our forms, everything, so we're in good shape there.
Second item?
Well, that was my second. My first was Chris and then this one.
Okay.
I'm all done.
I know that you're still working diligently on the credit card issue. Electric, Mike?
Main thing is, just like before, we're still changing out poles out east and west of town. Storm trouble from when I was gone last week, of course, plus 10-foot poles in that neighborhood. Several customers for a while. Everybody's back home except for one service for. We've had several new underground service for new housing starts. And I think the main thing is we gained a new employee last Monday. He would be trying to fill our lineman position as we see that he progresses through and do that. He was trained as a lineman, but until he knows our system, we really don't know his potential. So we'll be checking into that.
Well, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't, even though you were not here, your workers were unstopped for over probably 24 hours and minimized the time that our customers were without power significantly. Because there were some people that were not being served by our electric who were out days into the next week. And so I would hope that on behalf of this board, I'm sure these guys agree, we want to make sure your crews know a job well done, appreciated. And I know I've stopped in a few times and they didn't take very many breaks either. They did not. They just kept working. Like, so again, pass that on from the board. I think you all agree.
Absolutely.
Well, and with that being said, too, let me jump in there, with you guys' consent to let us bring that construction crew in. Otherwise, our guys probably would have been going for at minimum of 36 straight hours. If that would have been the case, they jumped right in and they knew where to go, they knew that part of our system, because they took care of everything east for us. And, without that, it would have been, our guys would have been, somebody probably would have got hurt, probably, before, I guess. But, fortunately, Sunday, throughout the day, it wasn't a terrible heat day, but they were starting to get warm by before, warm and tired by 4 o'clock. But, they did a tremendous job for
Thank you, Mike. But some people just know when to go on vacation, don't they?
Seems like every time I go, it happens, Mike. Can't help it.
Maybe you'll stay home.
No more vacation.
That would be, no,
That's what we can't let Todd go too far off busy. Gotta keep him around.
that would
You're gone, it's easier. Yeah.
I was here, I couldn't make it all 25 hours, but I made it quite a bit.
Let's go with sewer maintenance. Oh, he's not here.
No, but I got to update, he's on vacation too this week.
Okay.
They've just been doing the same thing, hammering. They finished up, or I think Jim was saying in the last meeting, they had 2 east-west Wabash manholes to fix before the street paving came in, that's been taken care of. And the old bowling alley, new veterinary place, whatever it is, they put in a sewer tap for them last week, and they did sign a waiver of remonstrance when they done that, since they're out of the city limits, so we have that on file. But, so they're doing their day-to-day stuff, and just keeping busy as well. They're doing a fantastic job, so. If you want me to pass that along.
Thank you. Wastewater treatment.
We did our annual crane inspections 2 weeks ago. Today we did our annual meter calibrations and truck calibrations. We had some nice stuff. The ones on the site, they've been for 2 years, so they're still working on the drain line going through the parking lot.
Um, Yeah, and I think all the board members, is everyone getting the update or the progress report? You know? That's very informative. I think.
I spoke to Eric last week and thanked him and told him they're very well done. He was very appreciative that I was pleased, and I haven't heard any complaints from the board, so I'm sure you guys are pleased as well. So
It's one of the better updates, in a
Yeah.
project like that I've ever seen.
maybe he'll be doing it weekly.
So
So,
short to the point.
yeah, as soon as I get him off board tomorrow. There we go.
Also, we will be getting from a phone call, conversation I had, a couple, 2 or 3 this week with Marty and Evan Wessler. We will be getting a monthly update on, the finances of where we're at, you know, of how much is spent on each task order. It's going to be itemized out. I think it's going to be coming from Dylan and Chris on that side. But, you know, that's something that Wesler's going to be supplying in a similar format that these reports are coming in. So that we know that task order 38, which would be the MS4 or something like that, we will know what that task order is for and how much is left on it and the amounts that have been coming out of it. Correct? So,
Okay, water.
You have the task order 15 that needs to be signed up for the last meeting, the Wabash Street. And I had that at the last meeting. Well, 23 is officially back online now. We had to purchase a new camper for the maintenance crew. It was, Todd authorized that. It was, the one they had now was there when I started in 2006. It just wore out. So we need to get a new one of those. And then we passed our microbiology lab with 0 deficiencies on Friday. It's Thursday.
Okay. On this task order, it's task order number 15, West Wabash Street water main replacement. There's not a line, but I think everyone should sign this. I've looked for a motion that everyone, that amount.
So moved.
Okay, you got it. Second.
Second.
Got a second, motion second. Andrew, roll call.
Who was the motion?
Joe and Ken.
Mike.
Huh?
Mike.
Joe and Mike, sorry.
All right, Rick Duggan,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Joe Rick,
Aye.
Ken Brewer,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
Like, do we get these now or under legal?
Let's do it under legal. And you can talk about it.
I don't know how much to say.
Question for you, Mark. On the pavement tamper, what happened? Does that go to the city auction? Is that just down the road?
Especially the warehouse,
And is there any what's the value of that? Is it, does it fall into our, how do we get rid of capital assets?
I had Brian put a scrap pile for now.
Is it
It's
useless?
really
We're like,
So it's used, yes, we're not selling used, we're not.
Let's deal with it.
Very, very okay. So we can do that if it's just not. Okay.
if there's no fair market value, then yes, we can get rid of it.
Got some more fixing us for
Anything else, Mark? No. Any questions? Rick, you got anything from the lagoons today?
Just to mention, in passing, I gave each of the board members and Todd a kind of a final draft of a new newsletter for the lagoons asset, waiting on approval or feedback from a local retail home center. that I've asked them for donation in monetary sense for materials to be used for improving lagoons, and waiting for feedback from them whether they will do so or not. And then once that's cleared up, I'll either go with what I printed out here, or if they are reluctant to donate material for the purpose, I'll find somebody else who'll donate something. I'll put them in their place. So this is a new way of communicating, and my intent here is to have something twofold. One, anyone who would like a copy of this emailed out will go on an email distribution list that I'll maintain out of the Lagoons email account. That includes our Facebook aficionados and our fishermen and our wildlife folks like bird watching. It will also help us when I talk to local service clubs, Optimus, Kiwanis, and so forth, and kind of tell them, give an update on what we're doing with lagoons starting this year. And the point of that being, oftentimes clubs like that, that's how they find causes to support, places to donate in kind or cash donations, etc. So this is a better way to communicate than just having Facebook alone, although Facebook's been rapidly growing. We have over 300 followers on Facebook currently. Everybody seems happy, which is quite different from where we were in April, May, and that was my initial goal. So I'll have more to come in terms of planning, but that's just a brief update as of today.
Anything from general manager for tonight?
Well, I already covered a couple of the things I had, but Ken had sent out an email this morning, and he and I have been attending all the annexation meetings, and they're going pretty well. Tonight was really the first questions that we had directed towards utilities. It was a statement that was made that we corrected. I don't know if that is first on the right page with everything. But we've been at 3 of them. We have 3 more to go. I think we're planning on attending all 3 of them. But so far, we've got it full on questions. So,
What was the nature, if I could ask tonight's question, that maybe people are going the wrong direction?
they were saying that there were going to be annexed so that they would have to pay for the infrastructure going to 65. And I corrected them and said no, that is a county project. And then what was the other one? And
One other one is all the Jefferson people, which obviously close to 10 years, 9 years ago or so, when they had sewer and water put in, had to sign the remonstrance waivers. And a lot of them think the city forced them into that. We corrected them, but that wasn't the case. Those things were under Indiana Department of Health under being condemned. And 3 guys sitting in there agreed with that. Once City Valley explained, and they said, you are correct. Yeah, we were going to be condemned. And so, you got your choice. Let the county run water and sewer, and you sign a remonstrance waiver, and you keep your property. So, they signed it, and the biggest hang up is that I've gotten out of the 3 meetings, and Todd can allude to it, is they feel the city has walked them into this position to a degree because it takes 65% of all landowners to shut it down, or it takes 80% of total assessed valuation. Well, you count everyone in Jefferson as part of the 65%. Well, they've already signed the waiver, they can't sign it, and so that leaves, they say, very few people to get to 65%. And Nick Kyle was at the first 2 meetings. Tonight was Lauren Box
which does a very good job. You could tell tonight, Nick Kyle wasn't there and they wanted to really shoot her tonight. Yeah. I mean,
Stood up pretty well.
and she did. You know, and there is about, what would you say, Clarence, 4 or 5 people in there that really, you know, a lot of the misconception, the first meeting that took all the bullets and everything else, which wasn't us and utilities, is the agricultural land. And the word had been spread out there to all the farmers, the ag land and everything else, that if you owned that farmland and you got annexed, then as soon as there was a name change, it went on city taxes, which Nick Kyle shot that down. I'm gonna say 2/3 of the people in that room just laid back in their chair and was ready to leave. Once he turned around and used examples of, you know, inheritance, you know, if Todd owned land out there and he sold it to Mike, even though there was no relation there, and Mike bought that land and Rick farmed it, it still stays in county tax rate.
Still has to be farmed.
Right. It's still agricultural. Ag use, and it doesn't change the zoning. And so, 2/3 of the people, that was the biggest gripe, because probably 2/3 of it is ag land. Tonight, they were pushing Lauren more on the, okay, what is the assessed valuation? Well, she kept saying, you know, the boundary hasn't been set, so we can't set an assessed valuation. And, you know, there's 2 guys that kind of sat in front of Todd and I, and they really were going after her tonight. And it's just, and I think, and I do believe from some of the conversations I've heard, and I don't know what Todd has heard from Clarence, that they are adjusting the boundaries. One good boundary that I'm pretty sure that I know they adjusted is Newcastle Road. You go out into here where the cul-de-sac is, they had taken all those houses. First meeting, Todd and I, we were like, we don't want those houses. When they started complaining, because they're outside of what we call Jefferson territory, and so then within 1 year after the annexation, we got to supply them with water and sewage, and it would be a tremendous cost for us to get it to that Newcastle Road to break even on that. And so Nick Kyle just pretty much immediately changed that line. And so those houses got taken off. Well, that took 5 more people away from their number of monsters. And so that's what these 2 guys are complaining about in here. They're weeding these guys out, so we got no chance to stop.
And then the other question I could remember is, one person asked if our facilities are big enough to handle any more mud than 65. So I explained that we're expanding our wastewater plant and we're ready to expand our water treatment plant. And they made it happy. So, but that was the other question.
And we were hoping that Chip Mott can supply electricity.
Yeah.
For the AS.
Yeah.
If you want us, I could lobby yours.
Yeah, exactly. So those were the questions tonight, and that's what's exactly right on the way it was, but they did want to hammer out more a little bit tonight. She did a good job.
Thursday's meeting, if any of you guys want to take my place, you're more than welcome. Nope. Just go ahead. I mean, I've heard it 3 times and it's the
I was part of that.
same old, same old for both of
You're
us.
doing a good job.
And you might.
You're a farmer, they recognize you.
One of the things Jefferson got to help entice them to sign up for the water and sewer members, so no fees. If they put it in, when we do it at all, we can have to pay that fee or any other fee, as long as they pick us in. If they didn't pick us in, no matter who the employer, we would have to pay for fees and tap fees and everything. So the people of Jefferson were very happy to get us out there. They wanted water and sewer. And they said, keep proper.
Yeah. the other, it's the rest of the people that are outside of Jefferson, complaining for Jefferson. I don't know anybody from Jefferson been there, not yet to complain about having to, other than, well, really the guy that died said, yeah, his property was gonna be condemned. So,
One of the
Well,
other things that we had to get it was, can you do it faster?
yeah, that,
Right. And they, when the meetings get over, then if you stick around, some people can go around, and the only questions that really come towards us is stormwater.
well, yeah, that's sort of a problem.
He said ever since the sewer lines is basement floods and anything else, how long is it gonna take you to get a storm drain in there if the city annexes, and, you know? Well, they've got to be designed, and there's gonna have to be some revenue collected from out there. And they understand that, but they, you know. Some of them tonight, I didn't think, they really didn't understand that once they get annexed, that their utility bill will lose that 25% surcharge. And, you know, they found that out tonight, that, you know, they were.
Happy about that.
Yeah.
Think about that too.
Right. They don't know at all. Good.
Okay.
I told Rick earlier about, you know, quit jabbering about it. I told Rick earlier that the first meeting might have had 25, then this meeting out at the schools might have had 10.
10 to 15, 10 to 12.
And I told Rick, I said, man, we might have 5. I should make the meeting, no problem. I don't know. Tonight there might have been another 20, 25.
I agree with that.
Have a good place.
Yeah, it was a good sized group tonight, but only had 4 different people talk. So I was a little surprised.
And one guy's been at every one of them, speaks at every one of them. So,
You say the same thing every time?
Does he live in the area? Does he live in the area?
He's the vice president of the Indiana Farm Bureau. Oh, Andy Bailey. So he's, you know. Yes.
All right, claims.
I'll make a motion, we approve the claims as presented.
Mike Peter makes a motion.
Second.
Second by Joe. Any questions? Roll call, Andrew.
Rick Onion,
Aye.
Joe Root,
Aye.
Mike Reader,
Aye.
Kent Brewer, Mike Kelly.
Aye. All right, legal briefs.
I'm passing out 2 resolutions, which I will let Dylan talk about. They're for the SRF funding for the water project. So, take it away.
Some more paperwork, more program requirements. I mentioned it last meeting, there's 2 resolutions for the board to consider. First is a PPR resolution, so that's just, that you approve the PPR, accept it. And then the second one is the signatory resolution. There was some questions about that. We should do that discussion.
Sure.
Facilitated.
So, we had some discussion previously about having the entirety of the board sign every document. SRF has several documents which only have one spot for one person to sign. That's just their standard documentation. So one of the things that we could, one of the things that we can do is we can do a special form with SRF and have everybody sign everything, or we can do or we can have this resolution where we assign one person to be the signatory for the purpose of SRF. Generally speaking, it's pretty common that SRF just has one person sign documents. One of the things that we could do if we wanted is we could put a stipulation in there. I don't know, dealing with that in there we didn't put the stipulation in there, but one of the things we can do is just say that this is the signatory for SRF loans only and not for any other documents. So for example, if there's a change order or if there's something else from the engineers or from the contractor, the whole board can sign those documents, but for SRF documents only, one person can sign. Ultimately, it's up to the board, and we can figure out a way to make it work if we need to, but generally speaking, SRF usually has one person be the authorized signatory. Does that do it justice?
Can this resolution include the change orders too? Because after meeting at the wastewater treatment plant last week, it happened.
What
We
happened?
need somebody to sign off on the change order. Like
Just
before.
one person?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this particular document is pretty much just for SRF purposes, but we can do a resolution that says that one person is the authorized person
Like
for all documents if you want to.
after what we ran into last week, I think it's going to be necessary. I mean, I didn't believe in that before last week, and then now after what I went through, it needs to be done, or we're going to be waiting 2 weeks to have something signed off on that needs attention by you.
Right. So for purposes of all of the documents, if we want to assign one representative to be the person who is kind of the point person, we don't even necessarily need a resolution for that. If we just have a motion and a vote, we can assign somebody. If you want it in writing more than just the meeting minutes, we can do a resolution. I don't have one prepared for tonight. But we will want somebody to be the SRF representative, it sounds like.
I've got a little more discussion. As I remember, we just agreed that we would all sign documents on behalf of the board. And if we start carving out our largest projects, the $27 million projects, and say, well, in this case, we're all gonna have one person sign change order, or
That's the way it is right now.
how do we reconcile the two ways of working with that? If it's good enough for change order on a $27 million project, or let's say Kent to sign that, I don't know why we're worried about the whole board signing anything. I don't see the rationale for that. So,
Well, on my side of that right there is, as soon as it came up, I notified everybody via email. I got a response from Kent Mike. I didn't get one from you or Joe. Well, I'll check your email. Yes, I'll have to check it on my phone. Sorry, Joe.
Hang on just a minute. Let's get this resolution taken care of, because I think we're talking about two different things here.
That is correct.
let's
So,
finish
what
this
we
one,
need
then I'll go
tonight-
back on the other.
What we need tonight is we need to assign a signatory for purposes of SRF loan application and
loan.
program.
Which is their requirement that we have one person sign that, unless we're gonna go with some kind of special documents and,
Correct.
okay. So I think let's stay on that, because that other topic is in under old business. We'll bring old business right up after this, but I wanna, then we're not talking about, it's just two different things. One of them is a requirement that an agency that we're trying to borrow money from
Correct.
wants us to do. The other is an item that we want to do because of how we want to manage a project. So let's stay with this resolution.
What's this resolution number?
The one for signature,
No, well, yeah, both of them, but the first one, I'm gonna make a motion for this first resolution, to accept.
Of the, PER, which is the preliminary engineering point of report.
that's,
Get it out. Can't talk, but
that's that we accept that, right?
yes,
Preliminary engineering.
What's that number gonna be?
That could be 2020 -07 -20 -01.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution number 2020-07-20-01.
Motion to accept that, or pass that resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Kent, second by Mike Reeder. Discussion. Roll call.
Rick Guggen,
Aye.
Joe Ruth,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Ken Brewer,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
now for the second resolution, we need to decide who is going to be the signatory. And since I did not know whether or not the board was going to want to have everybody sign it or if we were going to want one person, Dylan and I left that blank. So there is a blank that we need to fill in on who is going to be the signatory.
I'll volunteer.
Fine with me, I don't care.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is it, Kate's very much on top of this. Mike's very much on top of this project. Can we split these duties up depending on the project? Is that something that makes sense?
I think this is different. We need
This
to go
is,
to the next.
this
one.
is, this is
They
a
need to
one-time
walk. This is
signature.
the water.
Well,
We need
there
to
are
get the
probably more than one signature. There's the application and then there are additional
Okay.
documents.
But it's all for the same agency.
Correct.
Different topics here.
So,
I'll make a motion on resolution 2020-07-20. This will be 02, correct?
Correct.
That we have Kent Brewer as the authorized signature.
I'll second that.
And we have a motion by Mike Reeder and second by Joe. Resolution 2020-07-20-02, that the name on item number 1 being Kent Brewer, authorized to make application for state revolving funds. Roll call.
Rick Higgins,
Aye.
Joe Ruth,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Ken Brewer.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
okay, we'll probably want 2 copies. One for us. And one for Candace, okay, we just need one.
We have the combination.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No,
All right.
no, I'm good.
Okay, now we'll talk about task orders and change of orders.
Okay. I'll go back to where I was at last week. It was important a decision was made before this meeting tonight. Otherwise, we would have stopped progress in putting the pipe in for a change order that really needed to happen. So again, there's times right after a meeting, we get to the end of the week and a project that big, something needs changed. We need a decision made, whether it's sending an email out and notifying everybody like I did. Sorry, Joe, I missed you. Action needed to be taken before tonight. And that's where I think somebody needs to be able to sign off on that. Otherwise, we're going to have special meetings scheduled every time we turn around. And I don't think that's the way we need to operate, but that's just my thoughts.
I'll make a motion that Mike Reeder has that authority.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to designate that Mike Reeder be the signature person for the task orders and change orders that generate out of the wastewater treatment expansion project. Further discussion.
And that's important enough, what life's vacation and intensity, not that it ever happened. And we're naming a person for a project, because we need it before the board can do it. So cannot our chairman back up you if you're out of town?
Either that or Kent. I mean, Kent and I talk on a daily basis about that.
We're changing the rules of the game, we're not affording that in what we're changing to.
I don't think you're going to find me in Tennessee while this project's going on.
Well,
But if it happens, I'm a phone call
I
away.
mean, I don't dispute, it's important to keep things moving, but we're trying to tie our hands, is you know you, and Kent know Kent, and it's those two projects separately. I don't personally care, I'll go along with the group, but it just, after we just decided that everybody's gonna sign everything, I'm a little confused.
Well, one thing that you could do is you could change the motion so that it is Mike Reeder, and if Mike is unavailable for some reason, then we have a backup person that could sign in his place. Another thing that you could do if the board wanted to is that to every extent practicable, that person could communicate what's going on with the other members of the board without making a decision or having official action, because that would be a public meeting, but could communicate what's going on and then make that decision. So you could do that. Doesn't really matter to me, but that is an option in case someone is.
Such as an email that was sent out on the last one.
What about, rather than name a person, what about, or Mike Reeder or his designee?
Fine with me.
That
I'm good with it.
That way,
Rear or is it me?
that way, it's whoever he can get a hold of.
Sure, sure.
Keep the ball moving, keep the ball moving.
So the motion would be that, for the wastewater expansion project, Mike Reeder or his designee, if he is unavailable, would be able to sign necessary documents to continue the project, timeline. And to every extent practicable, he will inform the board of the actions that are taken as needed.
You guys can't see Andrew writing like crazy.
Sorry.
All this waiting.
I tried to talk slower.
He's on top of it.
That was slow.
Yeah, I made that motion.
Ken
And
made
made
that
the
motion.
motion.
So be it.
And who seconded it? Joe seconded it. All right, let's have a roll call on that, Andrew.
Rick Gagnon.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Joe Reed.
Aye.
Kent Brewer.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
I,
And then for the water project, did I hear that it was Kent?
Yes.
Okay.
And
For the water project, Kent Brewer will have the authority to sign necessary documents to continue the progress of the project in the timeline as needed. And if he should be unavailable, he may utilize his designee to sign on his behalf. And to every extent practicable, he will inform the board of what was completed.
who wants to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Rick makes that motion.
Great.
Joe? Joe seconds. Roll call.
That was the same,
Same
Same
thing,
thing,
only
except-
Kent and water.
Ken.
but for water.
Yes.
Right.
Ken Water.
All right. Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Joe Reed.
Aye.
Rick Gagnon.
Aye.
Kent Brewer.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Any other old business anyone aware of that we need to take care of? About new business?
Or do we want to take this water rate study and everything to council next week?
I think, from my standpoint, the timing, we need to get it there soon.
Dylan, you available next Monday?
Just what he wanted. Just another Monday night in Frankfurt.
Yeah. Seven. Yeah. Okay,
My life,
that's fine. I'm used to being like that.
resolution.
That's all.
Kind of beat that sheet like.
Resolution.
I've got one. I don't have the other. I need the, second one. So if we want to bring the rates, we should probably make a motion that we're recommending those.
Somebody.
Okay.
What was that?
We did that.
Did we do that last time? Okay, then we're good. I couldn't remember if we done it or not. It's been a couple weeks. Literally.
Yeah, we made a motion to recommend that
Okay,
Yeah,
the
no.
perfect.
water
Okay,
rates and water rate study go before the council.
good. Okay, then we're good.
If you bring something, get ready.
Sounds right.
in the minutes.
Perfect.
Okay, that's, be there on Monday then.
And where is the council meeting? The change is not here,
No, they're-
For everybody, just make sure we have everything signed. That we have to
We're gonna
sign.
need. Okay, this one,
I was going to ask you about that.
energy annexation in
So that-
the mayor.
That's the second, all right.
And the other one. So,
It's the same.
no, this is number 2.
Rick's not signed.
You also.
Okay. One of the things that we need to make sure that the, what's it called, ancillary rate, ancillary charges or whatever, I know. Rick
Yeah, we
wants-
got a meeting set up for Thursday. at
Okay.
12.
Those would be the ancillary fees and charges.
Fee charge.
Yeah. We got a meeting set up for that, Chris passed it out, some of the charges that are not in the ordinance at this point in time, but adding some increase in, well, some of them are in there, an increase in some of them for those, and we're gonna get together and discuss.
Okay. Any other business?
I have one thing I'd like to add to our parking lot. The general category is, I guess call it policies. We talked some months ago about how we had a near miss with a gas line occurrence where gas line was damaged during work. So there was some work done by me regarding the safe digging policy and 811 training and a written FMU policy regarding that topic. We never really closed that out. At the same time, we had been discussing the idea of requiring our personnel to wear high visibility workwear in certain jobs, like meter reading when they're walking along the road. And we know we don't have a written policy on that as of this point in time. In looking at, more recently, looking at the Tyler software issues, we've uncovered a number of things that I think merit a policy around that. The most important being, we really need, in my opinion, to report our software problems to Tyler using their online problem submission format, not just a verbal phone call. So those are the 3 bullet points that I'd like to just put on our parking lot to be worked on in the future under policies, just so we don't lose track of those 3 topics. I don't know how they're gonna turn out. I don't know how important they are. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next, but they're currently not on the list. They're in my head. And then similar to that policy topic, we also have one other policy which Kent has agreed to revisit or volunteered to revisit, which is the pension plan policy. So I think that could also go on the same placeholder, just so we don't forget it. I'm not intending to talk about it tonight, but that's why we have that on our meeting minutes. And so I'm just suggesting that we put those things on there.
Okay, I'll put it on there. Will you send me an email exactly how you want to word it?
Sure.
Okay.
Unless someone's opposed. Okay.
I will say, I thought on the reporting to Tyler, I thought in that meeting the other day, that was pretty well decided that you're going to use the Tyler report system or
Yeah, just, they're on my ticket.
I went
Use
back to
on-
my office and told my entire office that they were no longer allowed to call. They had to go online, report the call, and if it was urgent, they could turn around and call and say, I'm calling in reference to case whatever that they can create. And my girl's been doing that since we had that meeting.
that's what I thought you
I
guys
did
decided.
send an email.
I got the email too. Well, I didn't get the email, so not seeing an email, I didn't know what was going on. We had discussion about that would be an idea that I wanted to promote, but I never got any feedback. So if that doesn't
I thought
make
that's
the
what
list,
that's
that's
what's
fine.
that guy's name. That's what he said.
So you want to keep that off the list then?
I think that's,
I won't.
That is-
I won't put that on the
that's
list.
what they're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Just send me what you want on there.
Okay.
Okay, any other business for the good of the evening? Call, any motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We've got-
How do we want to help them? Do we designate one of the board members as the
Secretary.
You got it all now.